Alrighty, what's up? Welcome back to the Breaker Bros. And this is our instant reaction to the 27-24 victory over the Minnesota Vikings. And this is kind of what I expected. Now, the beginning...
It's exactly what you expected. Okay.
Kind of, but I expected the game to be kind of ugly. Like, I felt like we were maybe talked about it a little bit because, like, I feel like the last couple of games were almost too perfect. You know what I mean? Where things almost went too right. And it just seemed like at the beginning of this game, it was just really tough because, I mean, it started out well, except for the opening drive. We did well and we got to the end and we did that like trick play. And it was just kind of like, again, those trick plays.
Hey, why rush for 1 yard when you can do a tight end pass? I mean,
well, the weird part was it looked like it was kind of there. But I mean, again, why would you expect a tight end or a running back to make those throws that you pay like good money to quarterbacks to perfect? You know, like it's those the more like horizontal throws, like they're not vertical, like where you're just like throwing it down the field. I feel like it's a lot harder.
Man. I mean, I just see it as just being cute. Well,
yeah, again,
outsmart people when you don't need to outsmart people.
Especially for how effective Mixon was. Like,
yeah, that's what I mean. If there's one thing that Mixon is still elite at, it's goal to go. Like, if you got goal line Mixon and he can sniff that end zone, just give him the ball. Get out of the way. Especially, I mean, I think overall, you know, I don't want to be negative because the one thing I'll say is, I'm not like you. This is completely not what I expected in terms of the game. I mean, vocabulary-wise, I would say I expected something ugly. This game was not ugly. This game was like weird. This game was like, you know, this game chugged like 5 Red Bulls. You know, it was just crazy. It was just the wildest game I've ever seen. You know,
well, I mean, it just things didn't seem. I don't know. The first half was weird. It just felt like we started off fine, and then we did that trick play. We lost that momentum, right?
Yeah.
And then, like the defense would come up with these incredible plays. Like they would let the Vikings drive a little bit, and then we would get the interception on the goal line, basically, like in the red zone, where Hilton picked it off. And then I feel like the drive afterwards, that's where BJ Hill had that incredible like. I don't know if it was considered a fumble or a pick. I mean, technically,
it was an interception. And
yeah,
I mean, you were talking about how like BJ Hill has a nose for the ball. I think the ball, if he wasn't wearing a helmet, would have literally hit him in the nose. It was like, I mean, Mullins just as soon as he feels the defender touch him, he's like, I've got to throw the ball.
A quick thing though, before I forget, I again, I don't listen to the broadcast or anything. I'm not sure if they had an immediate update, but hopefully there's a quick recovery for DJ Reader, DJ Ivy, and then I don't know what happened to Jabbar at the end of the game.
But I mean, I feel like a shoulder injury of some sort.
Yeah, it looked like he tried to play through it. It seemed like he had a few plays afterwards where he initially showed something with his shoulder, and then I guess it was I'm assuming that's something to do with his collarbone. Maybe it's that could be kind of tricky. But yeah, Reader and Ivy looks pretty serious, but for sure Reader because he got a card. Actually, I think both of them got carted out. I think.
Yeah.
That's.
Yeah, I mean, it was not good. I mean, I thought that like the Ivy one looked really bad because it was one of those non-contact ones.
Oh, and he was trying to like stop immediately. Like he was running down the field. So yeah, that was pretty rough. But yeah, I mean, back to like the game. Like I said, we got into that moment where. Pretty much after the first drive, all the way through the third quarter, like we would do some things and then we would mess up. It seemed like there were some drops here and there or missed opportunities in terms of T not getting that catch at the end of the first half, which was close.
Yeah.
But I think he definitely made up for it in the second half because I think he had 2 touchdowns. And then that last touchdown, that's the one I made as a thumbnail where he did like kind of like a backwards dunk.
Yeah, it was sort of like he was like reaching to the back seat, you know, like you know, kind of like you're driving and then your kid asks for something in the back seat, you try to like hand them something.
Yeah.
Very casual too. It's just like catch. Oh yeah, let me score a touchdown. That was crazy. To me, that was like the most fun game I've watched for the Bengals in like months. I mean, it was just like,
you thought that game was?
Yeah, this game because like I had given up. Like, you know, when the Vikings got up, I was like, we missed our touchdown.
At the end of the third,
pass.
At the end of the third, it was still 17-3.
And then like Addison, like Mullins, like again threw the ball when he was like on the ground practically.
Oh yeah, that was an incredible play. Like
that ball, I mean, it's just like that ball should not have found a receiver. Those are like ones that like linebackers catch, right? And somehow he finds a receiver, hits him in stride, and then he runs into the end zone. I'm like, come on.
Yeah, because he hit Addison, who's like incredibly fast. I mean, the one thing I'll say
is,
hit him
in stride. I mean, how many times
the Vikings defense is a lot better than what I realize. I mean, I knew that their pass rush was pretty good, but I don't know. Like, to me, this was a playoff game. Like, it felt everything about being a playoff game.
I mean, your first warning about like how good the Vikings defense.
They just need to figure out their quarterback situation. It sucks because if they had Kirk Cousins, like, I feel like they would be a pretty good contender in the NFC. Yeah, I mean, they just played so well for the most part.
Yeah.
No, they're built really well. I mean, I just felt like both teams were actually really equally matched. And I think the score kind of represented it. There was just, it kind of felt like a boxing match because, like,
I mean,
well, because it would be one sense we would throw, or no, they would throw a pick or have like some type of turnover, and then we wouldn't do anything with it. And then towards the end, like, we didn't really score until the fourth quarter. Basically, we waited until the fourth to score 21 points, and then we scored another field goal in the overtime to win it.
Yeah, the box score agrees with you. 21.
Well, I'm not looking at it right now. Oops. Here, let me go back to it.
So, I mean, I think you're sleeping on the Vikings defense a little bit. I was worried because, especially like Friday, right? When you see that, like, they played the Raiders, they shut the Raiders out, and then the Raiders score 63, you're just like, well, maybe the Vikings have a decent defense, you know? Maybe it isn't like the meme where like the cats are boxing each other with boxing gloves. Like, maybe like they're, you know, they must have pretty decent defense.
Well, and they do a lot of different, I guess, things with their defense too. They have a lot of different coverages that they drop into. They're very tricky defense to figure out, and maybe that was part of the problem, is that when it came to our scripted plays, which is usually the first drive, maybe the first two drives, if you're
but I mean, I just feel overall like that game was like, you know, Monster energy drinks and Red Bulls, and I mean, it's just like the fourth down in overtime, right? I mean, like,
that was crazy. What an incredible stop by the defense.
I mean, it's just like insane. Like,
well, not only that
has like the Bengals ever done that.
Pratt had the pick six to seal the game, but I mean, Hendrickson was clearly offsides. I was like, at first I was like, did they not call the penalty?
Play.
I was thinking of Mahomes too.
Yeah,
when that happened. But I mean, he was clearly offside. I was kind of
Well,
confused.
yeah, you know, like, but to me though, like, if you're going to call the offsides, which you should, then maybe you should call the pass interference, where like a guy has like his
at the end with T. Higgins,
has his hand in T. Higgins' shoulder pads, and is pulling on him, and if he wasn't doing that, T. Higgins would have jumped over him and caught the ball, right?
Yeah, I mean, he was proving that. I mean, he was doing that all game. Like,
yeah. So
yeah, I mean, he had that one where it hit the ground. Like, that was kind of a 50-50.
If you don't want to call them, then don't keep them in the rules, right? Don't choose to call them when you want to call them. You know, it's just like, anyways, don't gamble, kids. Invest your money, save your money. SYM.
And then I think it was the first score that we had in the fourth. Again, goal line Mixon seems to be doing really well this year. It's just like he's got that extra oomph. Because that's like another week in a row where he gets that goal line touchdown, and it's like he breaks that initial, he's breaking through some difficult hits, and then
it was like Brian Bosworth and Bo Jackson at the goal line. He just like met Pace and just like it was almost like if you took out the frame where Pace hit him, it was almost like he didn't get hit. He just kept going.
Yeah, well, that's the crazy part is like when you hit him equally, you have that moment where they're kind of like stunned, and then whoever moves forward, gains the advantage, and it just like he was just running.
It was almost like he was making a jump cut around the guy. He just absorbed him and went by him and put the ball over the goal line, which again, like why are we being cute, right? Like the whole like Philly, so like copying like Philadelphia's play. It's just idiotic, man. Have you ever? I mean, it's almost like NFL coaches haven't seen Jalen Hurts. I mean, Jalen Hurts and Jake Browning are not the same guy. I mean, it's just like.
Oh, okay. So this is what I was thinking of.
Like, I mean, you've seen videos of Jalen Hurts squatting at Alabama, right? He was like putting up 700 pounds, like it was nothing.
Yeah, no, it's different with the Eagles because not only Hurts is incredibly strong, but their offensive line interior is also really strong.
Right, like they're a Hall of Fame center and all that.
They have a very competitive advantage because they're built to just dominate in these short yardage situations. Like
but I mean, but at the foundation of the whole thing is if you're going to do like a rugby type kind of scrum, like the fact that your quarterback is strong in the lower body as like.
See, I feel like the way Brownie was doing it last week was pretty good because I feel like the first time he tried to do it, like he had no movement at all in the season, and then they kind of adapted. So like what he did was he didn't initially go under center or like follow the center. He kind of like waited and then went around on the edge.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I mean, I agree. Like there's certain situations, like I just wish they would try to either directly snap the ball to Mixon on the short yardage plays and like, or I mean, maybe he can't take a direct snap. I feel like he probably could.
Yeah.
I feel like he's versatile enough to figure that out. I feel like that would just be so much better just to give him the ball and trying to do those little scrum plays versus like taking a smaller size QB and trying to rush it up behind him. Maybe
right. Well, but that's the difference. I
guess maybe our offensive line on average is considered big.
Yeah, they're big, but your quarterback has to be powerful enough, right? Like you expect your offensive line to have a stalemate, right? Because the defense knows that you're running it up the middle, right? But
I did like how they did try to incorporate Chase Brown early because I feel like he had an early play. I think in the first drive.
I mean, I just again, if we're gonna nitpick on play calling, I feel like so. I just feel like the team showed so much heart this game, and they played so well that you have to credit the coaches for that, right? And we're gonna like pick on like play calling. I mean, it almost seems like they went away from what was working the past 2 weeks, right? You look at the total number of pass attempts, 42, total number of rushing.
I do think 22. Towards the end of the fourth quarter and maybe in some other key moments, they were like, it was just, it felt like we were efficient with the run when we just did those just up the middle or around the side, just semi-normal run plays, I'm not saying the game was necessarily easy in terms of blocking or whatever, but just your normal run plays. And it got back to the point where they were trying to do those weird, like non-vertical plays to get certain people in space, which I appreciate. It's just, I don't know. It's just like, I feel like on that first play of the drive, just take this 3 or 4 yards that they're basically giving us throughout the whole game. Right? That way you do.
But to me, we're losing the whole point of like, that's what I'm getting at. It's just like, I felt like we were going to lose this game. I felt like maybe we deserved to lose based on like strategy and the way the game went, but they pulled it out. They just gutted it out. T. Higgins played like, someone needs to get paid, I guess, I mean, maybe it's You know, I mean,
No, T. Higgins played the way we expect him to play, and he's just basically that basketball player out there. And the way Browning throws the ball is very interesting because he has like that first uh ball that he threw him. I want to say it was in the first half. I felt like there was like 3 or 4 plays where it was just literally like a rebound where the ball basically goes straight up into the air, and when it comes down, the ball is actually at a tilt. It's not like
it's I like to call those arm punts.
yeah. Well, but those are good because
No, they're not good.
yeah, they
They're
are in terms
terrible.
of no.
Yo, they're terrible.
I'm not saying they're good in that situation because you're creating a rebound situation. You're basically
They're terrible.
essentially what you're simulating.
It's like you as a quarterback are saying, I can't throw this ball. I'm just gonna pray that our guy is able to make a Hall of Fame level highlight play in order to bail me out. I mean, that's
But
not a good
those
throw.
are normal type of plays for T. Higgins though. Like that it
That's
obviously
not
works.
those aren't normal type of plays for T. Higgins either. Those were great plays.
I mean, I feel like when he's at his best and he's not having like these
At his best,
silly
yeah, that's
drops.
called a great play. So
Well,
if you as a
when he's just
quarterback
playing
are
his normal
putting the
self
ball,
and he's not having these drop issues, like that's just what they expect
those
T to do. Like
that touchdown was an arm punt. It was 5 yards in front of where it was supposed to be. If it wasn't T. Higgins back there, the ball would have been intercepted. And
then
T.
you're not gonna
Higgins,
throw that ball like that.
huh?
Then you're not gonna have that play and throw the ball like that.
It's not a good throw. He was
Well,
open.
look at the throw to Charlie Jones. Like what was wrong with that pass?
He threw it too deep.
It wasn't that deep. It was off by like a
That
millisecond.
far off. Yeah, but that was a bad decision.
No,
You're
to
trying
me,
to
he
drop
threw
a
it to the
dime.
right. No, he threw it to the
Those
right
are
person.
two contrasting things, right? So you're trying to drop a
The point
dime
I'm
to a
trying to make
guy
is
who's
that he
streaking down
purposely
the field.
threw the
He
ball.
could have the target area to hit Charlie Jones and even score a touchdown, like, was a circle with like a 15-yard radius, and he overthrew it by trying to be perfect.
Well, I mean, he was also
And
getting
the
rushed
pass that
incredibly.
he hit,
Like
the pass,
he threw it just in time. I don't know. I thought it was actually a pretty good throw. It was just one of those things where
no, it was a bad throw. He missed the guy.
barely, and
He
it
was
was kind of
wide
questionable to
open.
where
He was wide open. Wide open. You
I think
could
you're
have
being
thrown
overly
it.
critical, man. I
You
mean,
could have thrown
I
it
don't think
in. You could have
many
tried to
quarterbacks in the
circle.
league would make that throw.
No, because it was a bad throw. You would be out of the league if you threw the ball like that. That is the difference between an NFL quarterback and not an
You're
NFL
being overly
quarterback.
judgmental on this play. Like it was to me,
No.
it was a pretty good throw,
Was it a
especially being
garbage
under
throw?
duress, 2 people jumping on him at the same time.
It was a
And
garbage
again,
throw.
like in my mind, and this is like 50-50, I think there would be some receivers that would kind of lay out and actually take that extra effort to catch the ball. I mean, he almost hit him on stride. That's what I'm saying.
No,
Like,
he didn't.
yeah, he did. It
He
it
didn't.
touched his hand and barely touched his fingertips.
I don't even think he touched it.
I think he touched it.
It was just beyond his fingertips.
Okay.
The fastest guy on the team, maybe second fastest, and you throw it over him. That means that you threw it too far.
Charlie Jones, I don't think he's faster than Chase, and I don't think he's faster than DJ Turner. He's probably not faster than Chase Brown either.
Well, he's for sure not faster than Chase Brown, but I thought he had like one of the faster recorded speeds in
Not
the
for
NFL.
receivers.
Well, on his punt return, he hit like his top speed was like in the 20s.
I mean, I would say he's fast in general for a receiver, but I don't know if he was even in.
No, what I'm saying is that I think like his punt return was one of the top recorded speeds in the NFL this year. I'm Googling it.
But nonetheless, you got to win games, and to me, this is an ugly game because it was just no real consistency. It took him pretty much until the fourth quarter to really wake up and start scoring. But you got to win these type of games, and again, the
Okay,
Vikings
Jamar Chase was
team that what I thought.
21.54. So definitely faster than Charlie Jones. Okay, NFL Next Gen stats. It's Next Gen. Okay.
I thought the play calling to start off pretty much the last drive to tie the game, basically, and then the drive to start the overtime. I just thought, again, just start with a simple run. And it wasn't until they got the ball again in overtime where they kind of got back to the run a little bit.
What week did they play the there it is. Charlie Jones, number 6, 20.97 miles per hour. So he's no longer in the top 20, but that would place him third, maybe? I don't know. Any event, he overthrew a fast guy. Fast and tall guy. Bad pass.
Okay.
If you did that every time, you would get cut.
I think a lot of people would get cut if that happened every single time. Because again, there was 2 people on him and barely no
wide
time.
open. Wide open.
Okay, man. And I mean, he did have another bad throw in terms of the interception. That was a bad throw, but at the same time, he shows the ability to come back and win games and make those final drives and make those other good throws. The T's first touchdown, not the second one where he did like that little like reverse dunk or whatever.
Oh, here we go. If it lands anywhere between, say, here.
Okay, just play it.
Here.
Come on. We don't need this commentary.
Here and here. Okay, please. I'm just saying.
Don't be Captain Obvious.
I'm just saying. It was a bad
I don't know.
throw.
Again, he got caught in between just running. I think
he overthrew him. He was wide open. You do not get more open than that.
Okay, I mean, he was open. I'm not disputing that. But then if he just ran through it or just dove, he did like a kind of a weird lunge. I don't know. To me, if he either just continued with the dive, he probably would have caught it, or if he just would have kept running, it would have hit him stride for stride. Like, why did he did that weird little? I don't know.
Okay, yeah, he did barely touch it.
So you get look. Why did he stretch like that?
I don't know.
If you just keep running, it hits him stride. I'm just saying. If you're going to be overly critical about the throw, then I'm going to be overly critical about the route. I just feel like if he didn't do that,
I'm not being overly critical about the throw. I said he overthrew him. That's facts.
But you're making it seem like it's a bad throw.
It is a bad throw if you overthrow a receiver.
Okay,
especially if that receiver's open.
I think in those situations where it's a timing play where it takes a little bit of time, but he's getting basically sacked at the time he's throwing, like that. Those are not easy throws. So I mean. Huh?
He was getting sacked on that play?
He was getting hit as he was throwing the ball.
Let's see if we can get that play again. 3-man rush.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Yeah. Oh, man, he's getting crushed.
Okay. Literally gets hit as he was throwing the ball. So
he gets barely touched.
Okay. But that still makes it more difficult to throw a pass.
I didn't say it was an easy pass. I said it was a bad pass.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just saying you're being overly critical. That's all.
It's not overly critical. It's factual.
Look, that's the play I'm talking about. That to me is such an incredible play for a defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong. Like, he threw it right to him. I mean, he caused the pressure.
But he caught it.
But I'm so used to defensive linemen being so a little bit more like I feel like he's pretty coordinated. Like athletic, I guess, for a defensive lineman.
Yeah, that's an incredible play.
And then the Hilton interception was pretty nice too.
Yeah.
And then, and then really what I was trying to say before, the first touchdown that T. Higgins had, that was a pretty good pass. Like he threw it right into the corner. He had an option to throw it underneath to Chase, but he just went for the touchdown and he got it. It was a pretty nice play, I thought.
Yeah. Not saying he didn't make some plays.
324 yards.
Yeah.
Mixon was really efficient. And then Boyd had that big third down conversion.
Yeah, but that's what I'm talking about too. I mean, like that was incredible. That was a great throw.
Well, even the throw to T. Higgins when he was getting pulled down, that was a nice throw. I considered it nice because, again, if you're not throwing it to T. Higgins, then you're probably not making those type of throws. Maybe even sometimes Jamar Chase, but I just think T. Higgins has established himself over the years that he can make those one-on-one and contested plays just because it's just basically a basketball play. And it's just incredible to see it in slow motion, too, because when you watch it in live speed, it just looks kind of like a normal play. But then when they slow it down and they actually show how high they're in the air, it's like, yeah, that's just basically a basketball play.
Yeah.
I feel like Joe Montana or someone to that extent had to say about that. They basically said it's not really a 50-50 play because it really depends on the person that you're throwing it to. Because with their ability, it increases their probability of catching it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's crazy, but I agree. There was moments, especially going into halftime.
But the decision to throw it was good, but where the ball went was bad. And then you got the absolute maximum benefit you get from how good T. Higgins is, right? So the part that takes you from 50-50 to like 60-40, that was the 60th, the absolute limit of T. Higgins' ability to be able to turn that arm punt that should have been picked off into a touchdown.
See, I disagree because when
I'm telling you, that's going to be on T. Higgins' highlight reel.
I think it's like physics,
when he retires.
Right? With the way the ball is positioned and the angle that's coming in, if it's more like a punt and it's coming more of a nosedive, right? And then becomes more of a jump ball. And if you have a 6'4", maybe 6'5", in that fringe,
okay,
I can essentially dunk. He's got a really good vert, and he's generally playing against corners that are typically undersized. Most corners are what, 5'10". Most of them.
But I would bet every single corner in the NFL can dunk.
Every corner, I would doubt that.
I would bet money that they can.
I would say it would be not all of them.
How many people running sub 4.5 40s that can't dunk? I mean, I feel like those are the same thing.
I don't know. You think a 5'8" person can dunk?
How many 5'8" corners are there?
I don't know. At least a handful.
Yeah, are they slow or are they fast?
How tall is Mike Hilton?
I don't know.
I think he's 5'8".
Okay. Let's see here.
Pretty sure he's 5'8".
He might be. I don't know. 5'9".
5'9". Ooh, I don't know about that. I felt like I saw someone talking about it.
Maybe they measured his height with his cleats and his helmet on.
I don't know. That's actually another good person to highlight. I felt like early on, I feel like they kept on trying to blitz with him and they weren't really getting anything with it. But then I want to say maybe after like the first quarter, he was starting to make plays. He was starting to get more like tackles for losses. But overall, he had a really good game. And then, towards late in the first half, second quarter, he had that interception right on the goal line, which was just a nice play. Like the quarterback, Mullins, didn't even see him. Which I can kind of see because like he was just he didn't really move at all.
But I'm sorry, I'm still on the old point here. I would bet money that Mike Hilton can dunk.
I feel like if I ever have an
how do you define
ask
dunk? How do you define dunk? Like,
be able
is it just
to
like
have the ball in your hand and then put it into the rim while your hand is still on
no.
the ball?
I mean like do you mean like in a game? Do you mean against defense, or you mean just like, hey, here's an open basketball?
I honestly think this is a straw man's argument. I don't even know why we're going on with this because like your overall point was you said every DB in the league can dunk.
Yeah, and then you said, "What about guys that are 5'8"? And then we looked up how tall Mike Hilton was, and he was 5'9", and you thought maybe he was 5'8".
Said something to the extent where, how do you know how many people that can run a 4.5 that can't dunk? And I was like, well, even though they're 5'8".
Yeah, I would still think
that's how we got into that. And then the first person that we thought of was Mike Hilton for whatever reason.
Yeah, so it's not straw man. It's an example of exactly what we were arguing about.
Not really, because it was a point to your point. I'm just saying because it's like my initial point, right? Let's get back to the main point, was that if you're pairing T against any average corner, he's going to have the advantage because it's a 6'5" person probably going against someone that's 5'10". And I guarantee you, T Higgins, if you think that corner has a good vert, I bet he's has something a little bit better.
Yeah, I never said they
him dunking almost from the free throw line. Like he's got
but I didn't say that.
But I said it was a bad throw. Like these arm punt throws are like, yeah, it looks kind of funny, but I think they're doing that on purpose because when you
didn't do that on purpose.
Okay. I don't think this is
that
best
he
throw ever, but I think
T Higgins by 6 yards on
I think
purpose.
there was a point to have the ball come down at an angle like that. I don't think it was necessarily because I think one of the first ones that he did, it was so high in the air that like they kind of wait a little bit. Like you don't want to make it too obvious because like you kind of want to do it in the sense that the DB is still running, and then before they realize it's coming down, it's already too late because the receiver's jumping for it. Like I think that's kind of how the timing should be.
Yeah,
but you definitely want the ball to come down a little bit more on a point.
Because I know, I get all that, but that still doesn't make that a good throw.
I mean, they completed it. I mean, it's it worked.
Because T Higgins made a great play.
Yeah, no doubt. He made, I feel like, a handful of really good plays.
Yeah, he made a few great plays.
Yeah, because he had like 3 of those catches. And that one.
I know. I'm saying it when T Higgins retires, and hopefully, let's hope he makes the Hall of Fame. Let's hope he's a Bengal when he does it. But in any event, when they show his career highlight package, there's going to be 2 plays from this game in it.
I would say there'd probably be even 3, but at least 2.
But the point I'm trying to make is these are going to be some of the best plays that T Higgins ever makes in his NFL career. And it took that in order to take that garbage arm punt from an interception into a touchdown. Just like Nick Mullins' pass to Addison, that was a terrible throw. He got lucky.
Addison
retires, they're going to show him
had to get it,
scraping the ball off the ground without slowing down. Right.
That's sometimes all you have to do when you throw it to really great athletes, and that was like an ideal condition for Addison to catch the ball on the run like that, because he's hitting full speed up the field with no one in front of him. Like,
yeah, but how does someone hit? I'm just saying it's a great play.
I mean, if you look back on the play, again, it was another crazy play where also it looked like he was getting tackled at the same time he was throwing it. So it seemed like we had adequate enough pressure. It's just, I don't want to say it's luck, because I'm sure they practice those type of moments and those type of plays. I just think
it's luck.
It's NFL athletes just making plays. And again, just like last week,
it's luck.
And in the week before that, like, we're beating quality teams, starting from the Jags to the Colts to the Vikings. And again, I think the Vikings were a little bit better than what I realized. It just sucks for them because, again, if they had Kirk Cousins, which I kind of want to get back at, I think they'd be real contenders in the NFC. And it kind of brings me back to Jake Browning, because it's like, I know we had debates about that before, but I think that's my comparison to him. Is like, to me, I think Jake Browning could be like another Kirk Cousins type of
Oh,
quarterback.
okay, okay.
That
I like
that
that
would be
comparison.
his ceiling. That's what I'm saying. Like,
I like that.
I would never say he's to Joe Burrow's level, but he could be a really effective quarterback,
He could be
especially on
Kirk
a team.
Cousins.
Yeah, but
Okay, yeah, that's
Kirk
fine.
Cousins can be on a fringe top 10 quarterback, but I just think he'll never be that elite quarterback, what you would consider elite. But
Yeah.
he shows that
He's
when he's on fire, he can be really.
if he keeps playing like this, he's kind of in the Andy Dalton to Kirk Cousins range, right?
Yeah, which
This is
which I would
incredibly good
say Kirk
player.
Cousins is definitely better than Andy Dalton, but I mean, I guess the floor being Andy and the ceiling being Kirk, I feel like that's the right range. And that's all we need on this offense so far. I mean, hopefully Jamar Chase is not hurt for an extended period of time.
Mm-hmm.
I get a sense if it's something with his shoulder.
But I would still think that Jake Browning's basement for his career is definitely lower than Andy Dalton at this point.
Yeah, I mean there's too many.
Like I think his peak is somewhere between Andy Dalton and Kirk Cousins. And I think his basement is.
Yeah, I mean if you're talking about like prime Andy Dalton, then yes.
Well, yeah. What else would we be talking about?
Like current Andy Dalton.
Current Andy Dalton.
Yeah.
I tell you what, current Andy Dalton would get that first. Would got that touchdown.
Which one?
Pick one.
But they
current Andy Dalton's a goal line quarterback,
so
man. They trot in the Panthers trot in Andy Dalton to convert 4th and 1. They literally bring him in just to do QB sneak.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
But on the goal line. Okay, I got you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I can see. I think Andy's built a little bit thicker. So yeah, I can see that.
That's literally what they do. That's actual like in their playbook is they trot off Bryce Young, they trot in Andy Dalton, they get the first down, then Andy Dalton jogs off the field, gives Bryce Young a high five, and then checks his E-Trade account.
So Steelers, I think they're playing right now, right?
Are they?
Yeah, because I think it's the Steelers and Colts. I think no matter what happens today, we should be technically in the playoffs until some of the games are sorted out tomorrow. But even then, if the games fall the right way, I think we might at least have the 7th seed. But I think through tonight, we'll at least have the 7th seed.
Yeah, the Bengals need to get some AFC wins.
Yeah, I mean the last 3 games, like they're in a point where they don't necessarily have to win the Chiefs game, but it's like you got to get those AFC victories to get the tiebreakers.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I was messing around with the playoff machine, and there's weird things that, like, if Kansas City keeps messing around, they might even fall out of the playoffs. Like, they play some tough teams going down the stretch.
Yeah.
Same thing with the Ravens. Like, they play some really tough teams, except for the Steelers, which I think they should be able to beat. But I want to say, oh yeah, because they play the Jags, which I think are due for a victory. They play the Jags this week, and then they play the 49ers, I believe. And I think they play Dallas. I don't know. They play really 3 tough teams, and it's just like you get to the point where if somehow they get on a losing streak and the Steelers are
there, I pulled up the playoff machine. Yeah. Let me zoom in.
Boop. Is this current? So right now we got the 6th seed. Yeah.
I mean, it's on my computer and we're live.
Cool. Okay. So is there anything you want to say about it, or are we just looking at it?
Well, you're talking about it. Yeah, see, it has Bengals 8-6. But I needed to make fun of you before I could.
I got you.
Okay, so I don't know how this works. So what do you do? Oh, do you get to pick the outcome of games?
Yes.
And then it tells
your first time doing a playoff machine?
Yeah. This is new to me.
It's like whatever you would imagine a playoff machine would be. This is exactly what this is.
Okay. So do you want to predict what you think is going to happen this week and then see what happens?
Sure. We can go through it really quickly.
Okay. Who do you think is going to win? Pittsburgh or Colts?
I think the Colts, even though I think they're playing right now.
Okay.
I just feel like they're a better team. They could be losing by like 2 touchdowns, but who knows? But I feel like the Colts are probably a better team.
Okay.
Because it feels like the Steelers are going to take a nosedive. I like the Lions over the Broncos, even though I kind of want the Broncos to win.
Really? Why?
It would be incredible for me to see the Chiefs lose it all at the end and fall out of the playoffs, and somehow the Broncos sneak in. I think that would just be incredibly funny. The tears would be just wonderful.
Jets or Dolphins?
Dolphins. I feel like the Titans actually.
Titans. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't think this matters
we'll go
too much.
Green Bay. Saints.
Well, you pick Green Bay, Saints. NFC stuff doesn't matter.
I can't see. Hold on.
Carolina or Atlanta?
Oh, Atlanta for sure.
Okay. Bears or Browns?
I feel like the Bears could actually upset them, but I'm going to pick the Browns.
Okay, I was going to say, like, it's going to give us a really good result if you pick all the teams ahead of us to lose.
No, but I don't know. I just feel like the Browns or the Bears had like a really good win last week, and I feel like they can build on that momentum. And then there's just it's a time ticking bomb. I just don't think the Browns are going to continue to get lucky is the way they are. Like they're due
this
for
is nice. This interface updates without you having to hit any button.
But just who should probably win is probably the Browns, but I could kind of see the Bears winning as like an upset. Is all I'm saying. And then same thing with the Patriots. I can kind of see them beating the Chiefs, but I'm going to pick the Chiefs.
I'm not going to let you do that.
Okay. I just the way Patrick Mahomes acted or overreacted to that call was just seemed so desperate, and it was just like one of those situations where
the
way he was yelling at the refs was that that's the way he went to yell at his receivers. Like he was taking the frustration out on the wrong people.
Look at it from his perspective. If the NFL is
but if you're confident and cool and think you're going to make the playoffs, you don't act like that.
If the NFL if you're so used to getting all the good calls and then one actually goes against you, how else would you react?
Not like a baby. Like I get you'd be upset, but I mean, come on. And it was such an act because it was like they were holding him back from the refs. Like he was going to go over there and punch the refs. Like, no, of course he's not going to do that. Like, why even pretend to hold him back? Like, I just thought the whole thing was very
hold him back.
Yeah, it was just, and then like as they were trying to, and you're telling me, was it Thuney or whatever their center is? You don't think he can block Patrick Mahomes? He was like, ugh, and then Patrick got around him. Like he was trying to act all hardcore over like
well, you want to slow him down, but at the same time, it's like wrestling with your kids, right? You don't go all out.
Anyways, yeah, the 49ers.
Okay.
LA.
Okay.
I kind of like Dallas out of the NFC.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna go with the Jags because again, I feel like they're due for a victory.
Okay.
And then Eagles.
Okay. So didn't change much.
No. It really comes down to the last couple of weeks, just because there's so many seedings, so many tiebreakers, so many teams that are involved with tiebreakers that play each other.
Yeah. We're gonna have to play with this on Wednesday.
Yeah. I think this would be a better thing to mess with on Wednesday. But
all right. So anything else to talk about this game?
I just want to say this is kind of what I expected more so in the second half. I think the first half was more of a dud. I wasn't necessarily expecting that, but I thought there'd be a little bit more back and forth. But I feel like it's a good, ugly win. And it's one of those good wins again. We came back while we were down, actually by several scores. And then we came back even after we threw a pick in the second half.
Yeah.
So it's like, and it's another win in overtime, right? So I feel like those are things that will continue to add confidence to this team, and it just reassure that they could be a playoff team and an effective playoff team if they can make it in there. But on the flip side, it does suck that it doesn't look good for DJ Reader, doesn't look good for DJ Ivy, and I guess we don't know what's up with Jamar. I feel like Jamar might be like maybe not a season-ending type deal, but more or less he may miss the rest of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's a shoulder, I almost feel like it's like a collarbone thing, and I feel like those are really sensitive, and it could be more of a pain tolerance thing too if they put some type of protection on it. But I could also see them just saying, okay, well, maybe we can win in this final stretch, which I think they can. I mean, the Chiefs is gonna be kind of questionable because anything can happen with Patrick Mahomes in terms of like high offensive power, but like the Browns and the Steelers offensively don't really necessarily scare me that much. Like I feel like you can kind of get by with low scoring games. Chiefs might be a little bit more of a different question or a different story, but nonetheless, I hope the whatever happened to Jamar, it's nothing serious, but it does look pretty serious for Reader and for Ivy.
Okay.
But great win, even though it was weird game. Even though you said it was really entertaining.
Yeah, I thought it was wild. What did you say?
What's your final thoughts?
Oh, I just feel like the game was like a rave or something, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, these are games that are fun to rewatch after the fact because you know everything is gonna end well.
Yeah. Rewatch this game and tell me if you don't agree that this is like the most fun game in a long time. Just because you went down, because for me, I had like given up and I was getting grumpy and I was getting ready to rip on the play calling and all kinds of other stuff, and then the plays that were made were insane. Like the Tyler Boyd play, the T. Higgins play, even like the play the Jermaine Pratt interception that got called back.
There was a 3rd and 21, and Chase got a pass for like 22 yards.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And it's just like those things were insane. I was yelling at the TV.
T. Higgins touchdown was insane. That DJ Reader, DJ Hill pick was insane to me. I was like, that's
and Joe Mixon's touchdown was insane.
Yeah,
to think about because they on that goal to go, they called the same run play 3 of the 4 times.
Yeah,
mixed in with some eyewash with Browning trying to pretend he was Jalen Hurts.
It was funny too because right after Browning had tried to do his thing, they flashed it like they were showing some of the reactions in the stands. You can see the guy saying, "Just run the ball," like give it to Mixon. Just like
that's why I was yelling. I was yelling at the team because it was like 1st and goal from the 9, and then Mixon got like 7 yards on the first carry. It's just like keep giving them the ball.
Yeah, no, this year's goal line Mixon is special.
To credit, Zach Taylor even sees goal line Mixon. He's just like, oh yeah, just give it to him again, and he almost scores. And then they're like, it's 3rd down.
And thinking about it,
it's cute.
That's our second week in a row where we go for it on 4th late in the game, and it ultimately works out in our favor.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the thing,
obviously this was more important this week. I think last week was more to shut the door on them.
When it's 3rd and short and you run it, usually you give yourself a chance to go for it on 4th down. But when you pass it and it doesn't work, sometimes you end up getting sacked and you don't get the points, or if you try to run like what is it called, an end around tight end.
Oh yeah. This is a really random thought, but why wasn't Mullins called for he for sure had not roughing the passer, but
intentional grounding?
Yeah, intentional grounding. I know Zach Taylor was yelling about it. But he was clearly in the pocket, and he didn't like the person he threw it to. He didn't even throw it like past the line of scrimmage. I'm like, you got to at least get it past the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, and then they to make up for it, they called that BS intentional grounding on Browning. They're like, oh, he was inside the tackle box, and then they show the replay.
Oh, I think
he literally he literally runs past the defensive end who had just beaten the tackle, who's standing right in front of him. So he's outside of the tackle. Like he literally, like the defensive end tried to go outside on the tackle, and Browning ran around him and was beyond both the tackle and the defensive end. That's why he threw it, because he was like, well, there's the tackle, there's the defensive end, I'm not inside those guys, I can just throw it away. And they're like, no. It's just like, what?
Yeah. I don't know. That's why I felt like it was an ugly game. It's just so much that went on.
Yeah, well, when you rewatch the game, play some good trance music.
There you go.
Crank up the bass.
Yeah.
Sip on some Red Bull, and then you'll get the feeling I was talking about.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see everyone on Wednesday.
Yep.
All right. Let's do it.
Time to end it.